You wake up. But you don't feel awake. Your eyes open. The sun's rising. But somehow, it all feels distant. You sit on the edge of the bed, hands resting on your knees. Not in pain. Not sick. Just, not quite there. Have you ever felt like that? Like your body made it to morning, but your spirit is still catching up? It's not sadness. Not depression, even. Just a kind of quiet fog. You move slower. You speak less. And some part of you starts to wonder, is this just how it goes after 60? Let me tell you something as someone who's spent over 30 years walking alongside men like you. This isn't about age. This is about connection. Because behind that fog, behind that feeling of being, not quite yourself, is something very real, very physical, and very fixable. It's blood flow. Circulation. The invisible fuel that powers not just your heart and muscles, but your mood. Your clarity. Your drive. Your body is like a good machine. Well built. Dependable. But even the best engines won't start without oil in the right places. Without fuel reaching the right wires. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How circulation and mood are connected. How the mornings you've grown to accept as dull, or just part of aging, might actually be your body's quiet cry for support. And more importantly, how you can give it exactly what it needs to wake up fully again. Not just physically, but emotionally, energetically. Like a man who remembers who he is and starts each day with purpose. And it all starts with something you can do before breakfast tomorrow. I'll show you. Let's begin. Most men I meet in their 60s and 70s tell me the same thing, almost like a script passed down quietly from one generation to the next. Doc, I guess this is just what getting older feels like, and I always pause. Because I've seen the same look in hundreds of eyes, not fear. Not pain. Just quiet resignation. A sense that something important has slipped away, and maybe it's too late to chase after it. But here's what I wish every man knew, the problem isn't always age. Sometimes, it's disconnection. Let me introduce you to someone. His name was Roy, 72, retired carpenter from Idaho. A proud man, still strong in his arms, still sharp in his mind. But he walked into my office with a slow step and a slower smile. He said something that stayed with me for years. I'm not broken, Doc. I just don't feel like I'm in my body anymore. He wasn't talking about illness. He was talking about absence. He wasn't in pain. He was just not present. Not engaged. Not waking up with that sense of fire in his chest like he used to. No interest in mornings. No joy in small things. Just moving through the day like a man on autopilot. I looked at his charts. Blood pressure slightly elevated. Blood sugar creeping up. Testosterone low. Nitric oxide barely detectable. But none of those numbers explained what I saw. Because Roy wasn't just experiencing a biological decline. He was losing connection. Connection to his body. To his energy. To that quiet sense of masculine presence that makes a man feel grounded in himself. And let me tell you, it wasn't age. It was circulation. You see, after 60, the blood vessels, especially the small ones in the brain, the heart, and the lower body, begin to stiffen. Not dramatically. Not overnight. But slowly. Silently. Like a garden hose left out in the sun. Still there. still functional, but no longer flexible. That's when your brain gets less oxygen. Your nerves fire slower. And your hormones stop delivering the messages your body used to respond to with ease. The result? You feel fine, but not right. You sleep, but you don't feel rested. You eat, but you're still tired. You go through the motions, but you're not fully there. That was Roy. That's thousands of men I've met. And maybe that's been you. But here's the truth I need you to hear today: this decline is not inevitable. It's not permanent. And it's not your fault. You're not fading. You're just disconnected. But once we restore circulation, not just to your muscles, but to your identity, everything starts to change. And it doesn't take a prescription. It doesn't take a full lifestyle overhaul. It starts with something far more powerful. A few small shifts each morning that begin to reconnect you to your strength. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. Let me show you what's really happening inside your brain, your heart, and your mood, and how they're all linked by one silent messenger. Ready? So let's get to the core of it. Why does poor circulation make you feel tired, foggy, and emotionally flat? Why does fixing blood flow sometimes bring back energy, clarity, and even joy? The answer lies in something I call the mood-flow connection. You see, your emotions aren't just feelings. They're biology. They're chemical signals, tiny messengers carried by the bloodstream to different parts of your brain. If blood can't flow well, neither can those messages. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your brain as a garden. Every thought, every emotion, every spark of motivation is a flower growing in that soil. But for the flowers to grow, they need water, consistent, gentle irrigation. Now imagine your garden hose, the one feeding that life, is pinched. The water trickles in. The flowers wilt. The color fades. That's exactly what happens when blood flow slows. The parts of your brain that regulate emotion, memory, focus, they don't shut down, they just dim. Like lights on a low switch. And when your brain is dim, your life feels dim, too. You feel duller. Less engaged. Less like you. This isn't a mindset problem. This isn't a motivation issue. This is a circulatory problem. Let's get more specific. There are 3 key molecules that drive both mood and blood flow, and all of them depend on healthy circulation to reach their targets. Nitric oxide, the master messenger for blood vessel relaxation. It tells your arteries, hey, open up, let the blood through. Without enough of it, everything tightens. Including your mood. Serotonin, the feel-good chemical that lifts your spirits and calms your mind. It travels through your bloodstream and depends on good oxygen supply to be produced and delivered. Testosterone, not just about intimacy. It powers confidence, drive, and vitality. When blood flow weakens, your hormonal signals weaken too. That's why many men don't just feel physically slower after 60, they feel emotionally disconnected. But here's the good news, this system wants to work. Your body is built to circulate. To repair. To restore. It just needs the right signals. And the best time to send those signals? Morning. The first hour after waking is when your body is most ready to respond. That's why the next section is so important. Because we're about to build your holistic morning plan, a 3-step system that speaks the language of your blood, your brain, and your mood. No pills. No pressure. Just a simple daily rhythm that tells your body, it's time to come back online. Let's build that together. Let's begin with what no one ever taught us: how to wake up like a man who still owns his morning. Most guys roll out of bed, shuffle to the bathroom, grab coffee, and scroll the news. Not bad habits. Just empty ones. And for a man over 60, those first 60 minutes aren't just a routine. They're a message. A message to your heart, your brain, your hormones. And if that message is silence or stress, your whole day moves in that direction. But if that message is support, if it's circulation, if it's fuel, your entire body responds. So let's rebuild that message. Not with pressure. Not with pills. Just with 3 gentle rituals that speak directly to your biology. Ritual 1: the hydration signal before anything else touches your lips. Not coffee, not food, not meds. Start with 1 glass of warm water. Add a squeeze of lemon if you like. This isn't just about hydration. It's your first circulation command. It wakes up the blood vessels, stimulates digestion, and starts moving oxygen toward your brain. Think of it like priming the pump. Without water, your blood gets thicker. Your vessels stay tight. Your energy stays locked. But with water, the gates open. It's simple. It's free. And it's step 1 in telling your body, we're turning things on. Ritual 2: the circulatory breakfast. Next comes food. Not just any food, but a trio that speaks directly to male circulation and mood. Start with half an avocado packed with monounsaturated fats that support testosterone and flexible arteries. Plain Greek yogurt delivers protein, probiotics, and calcium to strengthen the pelvic floor and reduce inflammation. A small handful of pomegranate seeds, one of the richest natural sources of polyphenols, which boost nitric oxide and blood flow. You can combine them in a bowl, or eat them separately, whatever feels right. The key is timing. Eat within an hour of waking. Because that's when your blood is most responsive. That's when your hormones are waiting for fuel. That's when your nervous system decides whether to run on fight or flight, or on clarity and calm. One of my patients, Mr. Glenn, 70 years old from Wisconsin, once told me, "Doc, I don't know what it is, but since I started that weird little breakfast, I'm not angry in traffic anymore." It wasn't just breakfast. It was biology reconnecting. Ritual 3: the mood movement. You don't need a gym. You don't need equipment. You just need 3 minutes. Stand near a window. Feel the light. Then gently roll your shoulders backward and forward 10 times each. Stretch side to side, lifting your arms overhead like you're opening space inside your ribs. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your belly, and take 5 slow breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. This isn't about burning calories. It's about reminding your nervous system that you're safe, that you're grounded, that you're still in here. Men who do this daily often report unexpected things: less groin tightness, warmer hands, clearer thoughts, even better bowel movements. Because this is more than movement. It's circulation in motion. It's mood getting unstuck. 3 rituals. Less than 15 minutes. No pressure. No perfection. Just a rhythm. A signal. A message. I am still alive in here, and I'm choosing to live well today. And now that you have this morning foundation, let's clear away the myths that have blocked it for years, the quiet lies that keep good men from ever starting. We'll face those next. Let's be honest, most men don't skip these morning rituals because they're lazy. They skip them because they've been told a lie. Actually, several. These are the quiet myths, the kind passed down in silence, never questioned, just accepted. And they keep good men stuck. Not because they can't change, but because they don't believe it's worth trying. So today, let's bring these beliefs into the light. and gently, respectfully, dismantle them. Belief number 1, if I'm not in pain, I must be fine. This is one I hear all the time. Especially from men who've worked hard their whole lives. They say, my back doesn't hurt. I'm not on medications. So I guess I'm doing okay. But what they don't realize is this: the body whispers before it screams. Stiff legs in the morning? That's circulation. Less motivation? That's blood flow to the brain. Feeling foggy after waking? That's nitric oxide talking. You don't need to wait for a crisis. You can respond to the signals, subtle, quiet, real. And the earlier you respond, the easier it is to reverse. Belief number 2, I've made it this far without all that. This one comes from pride. From grit. From generations of doing without. And I get it. Maybe you've never stretched in your life. Maybe you skipped breakfast for decades. Maybe you've always just powered through. But here's what I gently remind men: your body at 60 is not your body at 30. Back then, your systems could absorb punishment. Now, they require support. Ignoring that doesn't make you strong. It makes you tired. And tired men don't get to live fully. They just get by. You deserve more than that. Belief number 3, it's too late for me. This is the hardest one. And the most dangerous. It shows up quietly. I've let myself go too long. It won't make a difference now. That stuff works for younger guys. But let me tell you, some of the biggest transformations I've seen came from men in their 70s and 80s. Not because they overhauled everything. But because they started one small ritual and kept showing up for it. That's it. Consistency. Compassion. And time. It's not too late. Unless you decide it is. Belief number 4. This is just how aging works. This one isn't your fault. It's what the culture tells us. That once you pass 60, everything just declines. That feeling tired, disconnected, soft, or irritable is just normal. But let me ask you, if something feels wrong, should we call it normal? No, we call it addressable. Reversible. Worthy of attention. Aging doesn't equal suffering. It just asks for a different kind of care. A deeper kind of listening. And a better kind of mourning. Now that you know these myths, you can start to move differently. Not just in body, but in belief. And when your belief shifts, your biology follows. In the next part, I'll walk you through what actually happens when you start these morning rituals. Not in theory, but in your real, living body. From day 1 to day 30. Let's take a look at that timeline, so you know exactly what to expect when you start. You've made it this far, and that tells me something important: you're not just interested. You're ready. Not for a fad. Not for a miracle. But for something real. Something that works from the inside out. So let's talk about what happens when you actually start. Not in theory. Not in a perfect world. But in your body, at your pace. Because these 3 rituals you've learned, they're not small. They're signals. And the body listens. Quicker than you think. Day 1 to 3, the awakening. You start with a glass of warm water. You stretch. You eat a breakfast that doesn't come from a box. It may feel strange at first. You might even laugh at how simple it is. But deep inside, your systems are already responding. You might notice a little more clarity in the morning, less stiffness in your legs, a quieter kind of calm in your chest. Your blood vessels are opening. Your nervous system is dialing down its alarm bells. You've begun. And your body? It's saying, thank you. Day 4 to 7. The shift, something subtle starts to happen. You wake up before the alarm. Your thoughts feel sharper. You don't dread the mirror quite as much. And maybe you feel a little more like you. One man, Carl, 68, from Michigan, called me on his 7th morning and said, "Doc, I didn't expect this. But I caught myself humming while making breakfast. I haven't done that in years." That's not magic. That's reconnection. Blood is reaching your brain. Oxygen is feeding your energy. Hormones are whispering, it's time to wake back up. Day 8 to 14. The return, you feel steadier now. Not just physically, but emotionally. You're more patient with your spouse. You're walking a little farther. You notice color again, in food, in music, in moments. And if you've struggled with intimacy or desire, you may feel a flicker returning. That's nitric oxide. That's testosterone rising. That's blood flow moving into places you thought had shut down for good. And the best part? You didn't force any of it. You just showed up, and your body did what it still knows how to do. Day 15 to 30. The reset, this is where momentum builds. You don't have to convince yourself to stretch anymore. Your morning routine isn't a task, it's a homecoming. You feel lighter. More grounded. More in charge of your day. Your moods are less sharp. Your cravings are fewer. You're present again. One of my patients, Glenn, said it best, "I'm not a new man, I'm just me. The me I thought was gone." That's the real reward. Not perfection. But presence. Not youth. But ownership. You've now seen what can happen when you give your body 3 simple things: hydration, nourishment, movement, in the order and rhythm it understands best. But before we close, there's one more shift we need to talk about. Not in your habits. In your identity. Because this isn't about breakfast. It's about who you believe you are now, and who you're allowed to become. Let's go there next. If you've listened this far, I want you to pause, just for a second, and take a breath. Seriously. Right now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Because that simple breath is proof that something in you still wants to heal. Still wants to live fully. Still believes in more. And that matters. Because too many men your age have been quietly told the same message, in ads, in waiting rooms, in silence. You're winding down, but I'm here to say something different. Something urgent. Something true. You're not fading. You're recalibrating. You're not losing yourself. You're just being asked to meet your body in a new way. With more presence. More rhythm. More grace. And you're doing that now. With a glass of warm water. A stretch at the window. A breakfast that actually nourishes. These aren't small things. They're acts of self-respect. And when done consistently, they send a new message to every part of you: we're not done yet. We're building something better. And we're doing it from the inside out. Aging doesn't mean disconnecting. It means realigning. Slowing down, yes. But only to become more precise. Like tuning an old guitar, your body may need a gentler hand. But the music it can make? Still rich. Still powerful. Still yours. So here's what I ask: start. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for more motivation. Pick just one thing tomorrow morning. A glass of water. A quiet stretch. Half an avocado. And repeat it. Again and again, not because you have to, but because you're worth it. And if this message stirred something in you, a quiet yes, a flicker of hope, a moment of, I needed this, then don't keep it to yourself. Send it to a friend. A brother. A man you respect. Let them know they're not fading either. They're just waiting for the right rhythm to come back to life. Thank you for showing up today. For your body. For your future. For yourself. You've already begun. And the best days ahead? They start with a morning just like this.